everybody, Brenda here. Today we're going to make a quick cucumber feta salsa with dill. You can serve it lots of different ways. I'm going to talk about that as we go through. You can cut your cucumbers up to the size that you'd like depending on what you're going to use it for. So traditionally I use it as a salsa. It's a beautiful spring dish. It has beautiful color to it. The recipe that's going to be posted also has instructions on how to make homemade pita crisps. I'm not going to do that today, but you could certainly do that. Or you could also buy pita chips at the grocery store and use them. I also enjoy it on Triscuits. I'm making this batch because we're going to grill up some chicken breasts and I'm going to use it as a salsa for my chicken breast. So just on top of my chicken breast, we pile some of the salsa. And you could also cut your cucumbers larger and use it as a side salad. So let's start putting it together. So what I have here is about a cup of feta cheese, and I use the fat-free feta. I can't even tell the difference, so I figure it's a little bit more healthy. So I always choose fat-free feta cheese. So I'm going to add that to my bowl. And I have 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. You can use fresh lemon juice. I'm taking a shortcut today and using the frozen Minute Maid lemon juice. And we're just going to pour that over our feta cheese in our bowl. And we need about 1/4 of a teaspoon of fresh ground pepper. So I'm just going to eyeball that. And I do like pepper, so I might put a little more in there. Don't need any salt because the cheese is salty enough. And then we're just going to take this fork and we're just going to mash this up. And we're not going to smush it totally. We want to get rid of those big chunks of feta. But what we're doing is we're getting that yummy lemon juice flavor all through our feta cheese. So I'm going to give that a stir. I'm going to check again and make sure there's no big chunks, which I see a few. So we're going to keep working at that until we get rid of those chunks. And now I'm going to set it aside. So we need about 1.5 cups of cucumbers. I already have them ready. I like to leave some of the dark green skins on because I think at the finished dish it looks really pretty when you do that. And the way that I do that is just take my cucumber, and I use the English seedless cucumbers. You really can use any cucumber in this recipe, but if you use cucumbers with seeds in it, it has a tendency to get watery if you leave it in the refrigerator. So I like the English cucumbers. They're the long skinny ones that come wrapped in cellophane at the grocery store. So I just take my vegetable peeler and I take off a little strip of that skin. You could also use a paring knife to do that, just to get some of that dark green off. And what that does is give us this nice two-tone cucumber when we chop it up. So again, you can chop the cucumber up whatever size you want. So as I said, if you're going to be using it for a salsa that you want to pick up with chips, you want to make those pieces pretty small so that you can actually grab them with a chip. If you're going to use it more for a salad, you can make those cucumbers larger. So I'm going to add the cucumbers to my feta cheese. And now the recipe calls for 1 cup of red onions. I feel like that's a little too much red onion, so I'm going to use a little bit less. So, excuse me, about 3/4 cup. And I just chopped up my onion, so making slits. So standing it on the end, making slits about the width of my knife, about 5 or 6 of them, then lay it down on its side. Take your knife, go the other way, and then turn it sideways and just chop those off. It gives you pretty even slit chunks of onion. And for this, I like to run my knife back through it a little bit to make nice small pieces, so that you just get little bites of that onion. So I'm going to add my onion that I already chopped, and then we'll just put that in there too so it doesn't go to waste. So you see it turns out to be about 3/4 cup. So now I'm going to mix this up. So just getting all the feta off the bottom, incorporated up with the cucumber and onion. And our recipe calls for 3 tablespoons of dried dill. That seems like a lot of dill to me. So the way that I do it is, so I've measured out 2 tablespoons here. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to sprinkle some on, and then I'm going to give it a stir and see how I feel about how much dill is in there so far. I think 3 tablespoons would really overpower it. And again, it's based on your taste and what you like. So I think I want a little bit more feta. A little bit more dill. So I'm gonna add that. And I also feel like I'm gonna add a little bit more pepper because I'm not really seeing any pepper in there. And I'm gonna give it another stir. So it's healthy, it's fresh, it's delicious. It does last in the refrigerator for a couple days. You might have to drain off some of the excess liquid, but you can use it multiple ways, as I said, as an appetizer with chips, to go on top of chicken or pork, or you could also make your cucumber larger and use it as for a salad. The recipe also calls for fresh mint. I'm not a fan of fresh mint and savory foods, so I'm not going to add that, but you can adjust the recipe based on what your personal tastes are. So I hope you enjoy healthy, fresh spring cucumber feta salsa.